Hello everyone, welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan. Thank you for coming to the channel. So this is a freshly cut aquarium. What I mean by that is just yesterday I did a pretty significant trim on most of the plants in this particular tank, which FYI is a 20-gallon Oase Cinescaper. It's obviously heavily planted and all of that looks pretty good, right? So one of the things you see after freshly cutting an aquarium is certain issues and areas of concern with some of your plants that might not be readily apparent if you just let it go to seed, so to speak. For instance, this Rotala atra down in here, you see not much below those gorgeous red tips, which are brand new because I just cut all the other ones off, which had risen to the top of the tank and started flopping over. You know, that part's fine, but below, and as you get darker and deeper, the plant is really looking pretty scraggly. I'm gonna try to show you. If you look carefully, you can see they're basically just sticks there. There's no more leaves. And that's fairly common. And it's, you know, I could blast more light and then get more algae. I could change plants, or I could just take the tops, pull out the plant and plant only the tops. These are all strategies that people use to keep their plants, their aquatic plants, in premium optimum shape. You know, I'm sort of splitting the difference here with this Rotala atra. I don't feel like pulling the whole plant out, and there's not enough tips really to get new plant sets in. And mainly, if I were to put 2 or 3 inch plantlets into the bottom here, the Pogostem and Octopus and the Lemonphilia sessiflora, they grow so much faster than this one, they would just overtake and overpower the light and defeat the whole purpose of planting the lovely fresh growth from the top at the bottom. So in this particular aquarium, that highly recommended strategy would not work, not for that plant anyway. I read somewhere that the famous aquascaper Takashi Yamano, and I beg your pardon if I pronounced his name wrong, basically the founder namesake for ADA, he once said, I think after 7 times, 6 or 7 times, you cut the tops off and let new growth, you cut the tops and let new growth, and then like on the 6th or 7th time, you have to pull the whole plant and start over. And I think what he was getting at, and it's the truth, and I'm ultimately facing it, is this plant will become so tired and so threadbare at the bottom that I will be forced to take the tops, which will still come in pretty nice, and replant them, because it'll just get too far gone that the stems will maybe rot through, or snails will start to eat them, and etc., etc. Plants like Pogostem and Octopus, which can grow pretty well just as a bunch, almost like a moss of some sort, that's not the kind of problem you have with this plant. While it can get rangy and less attractive, what I find to be the concern in this particular plant is you see some of that green hair algae in there. There's so little water flow as it gets bunchier and bunchier that while it looks terrific from a couple feet away, it will encourage algae right down into it like that. Now I can just pull that out with my fingers and tweezers, and I do that, and you know, no harm, no foul. It's not the end of the world. But if I went on a two-week holiday, well, God forbid, a 2-week holiday would require a whole lot of things to happen. But just for example, if I didn't do anything for 2 weeks after a fresh cut, and then maybe a month, the highlight on that new growth would stimulate the plant, obviously, but also that algae as well. And then as the plant grew up and toward the top and I wouldn't be able to see so much anymore, the algae would thicken up and start to compete against the center portion of the plant. And what's the solution? Well, as I said, hand pick it out. And you know, it depends on the kind of algae. Green hair algae is relatively easy, though a pain in the butt to deal with. BBH, which thank goodness is not my main problem in this tank, is a whole other matter. Lemonphilia sessiflora has the same issues regarding the lower, less lit portions can degrade over time. But this plant is so easy, so weed-like, and so awesome, frankly, that I really don't have anything negative to report about it. If I see a dead clump or a portion where the algae has just dominated it, I just pull it out, and the next day there's another inch of new growth. This is by far the fastest growing plant in all my fish room. So enough of the problems. Some of the great things that are illuminated with a fresh haircut is the true wonder and beauty of the aquascape that you intended. And I am getting that here. The middle ground with that glorious red cryptocorn to the right of the dragonstone, and then the slightly sloping epiphytes of Anubias with glorious different greens and textures and sizes in the leaves. Moving across the carpet, nice and trimmed out, even though it's a hodgepodge of plants at this point with moss included and some algae. It looks just like a golf course, which I know is not ecologically sound in the real world, but in a 20-gallon tank, it's pretty freaking awesome. I've got Bucephalandra here, and look at that Anubias nana petite. It's so compact and so healthy. It looks just, I mean, it looks like a hedgerow. I love that. But by far, what's the coolest is this wonderful sort of centerpiece with the different reds from that beleaguered rotala in the back, the dragonstone, and then the cryptocorn, the balense up here, and I don't know which species this is, but that crinkly and purple-leafed variety just in front of the balense. So beautiful. That red is like a buttoneer on a green tuxedo. And of course the longfin coreodoras. I'm sorry guys, I'm not talking about these wonderful, it's like having 6 West Highland Terriers running around on the lawn in Scotland there, right? These adorable coreodora catfish. And just for the record, the school of Bexford pencilfish, red Bexford pencilfish, some gold tetras and some green neon tetras round out the fish species in here. And then any number of cleaners. There's a longfin plecostomus. There's also Otocinclus and a whole bunch of Neocaridina. Look at this, this is fun. Look at them all feeding off the biofilm on top. The camera is not necessarily picking the shrimp up, but you see all those ripples? That's them. I'm gonna try to get a better vantage point, but that was pretty cute though. There, look at them all. Look at them all. And they're all like Bloody Mary. Now, and I say Bloody Mary because they're deep red without any color imperfections. But bear in mind that Chihiro's light does everything in this tank a favor. The greens are greener, the reds are redder, things are vivid, they pop. Good lighting will do that. Many lights, a lot cheaper than this Chihiros, will grow your plants, but to show them off and bring out the colors, you need a full spectrum, but not just full spectrum written on the box, but the amount and quality of the LEDs matters as well. I think a lot of inexpensive lights say full spectrum because they have 4 white LEDs, 2 blues and 2 reds. And you know, so caveat emptor, buyer beware. But again, you get what you pay for. I think most of us know what we're getting. And the big value with the Chihiros or some of the other top-end lights is how they show off your aquarium. Because Hygger will grow your plants really, really well. It's just how they look is where I think some of the real difference in price point comes into play. I know I started this video on a bit of a negative tangent about some of the issues, but I didn't mean it in any way to be complaining or upset or disappointed by this aquarium. I'm really, really, really happy with it. And I hope you can see why. I think it's just a beautiful tableau, a wonderful diorama. But I thought for the sake of fresh content, I would talk about some of those things that become only apparent after you trim your tank, which is algae in the center, dying stems that you might not be aware of because the top looks healthy, and some of the issues and concerns that go along with things like that. And the solutions are varied and they all work. And doing nothing is a choice too. Just keep trimming and keeping the tank as healthy as possible and living with the top portions looking great and the bottom not so much, until perhaps the plant finally just is overtaken by a healthier competitor, and then just living with that, playing the cards that were dealt, not just the cards that we originally set up on the table here to kill that metaphor. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this. As always, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.